What's going on, guys? Brad Messersmith here with Slurv.com, bringing you GPP plays and strategy for the upcoming Players Championship at TPC Sawgrass. I'm going to get right into it. So, first off, I want to cover a quick point on strategy. It's worth mentioning that this tournament is actually a tournament where we have seen several of the top golfers miss the cut. We're looking at a course that's going to be very difficult to play. It's a Pete Dye design course. He set out his goal when building this course was to create a course that gave no specific type of player an advantage. And we see that in some of the results. There's danger lurking around every corner on this course. There's lots of water, lots of bunker play. Scrambling is going to definitely come in play. Last year we saw Spieth, Jason Day, Justin Rose, Phil Mickelson, DJ finish 69th. We saw all the rest of those guys miss the cut. So we're talking about a week where there's going to be some variability. So in GPPs, we're going to be looking to take advantage of some of that, and then we'll roll through a couple of guys that I really like as GPP options. So so keep in mind that there is some potential that fading some of these top guys is going to be an advantage, and then there's also some potential that you may want to have some exposure to several different top guys, which is probably a strategy that I'm going to enlist in this week. So the first guy I want to talk about, Henrik Stenson at 9,500, I think is very underpriced. He's coming off his first missed cut in almost 3 years. He's a very, very steady golfer, typically a great cash game option. With him missing the cut, I'm hoping that his ownership is going to be a little bit deflated. We're seeing him at a price that's fairly inexpensive for the type of golfer we're talking about. He has been quoted several times as mentioning TPC Sawgrass as his favorite course, and he credits his 2009 win at the Players at TPC Sawgrass as his biggest golf accomplishment. So we're talking about a guy who really favors this course. The course favors him statistically. And on top of that, he's used to clubbing down. So Henrik Stenson plays very commonly. He plays his 3-wood off the tee, almost never hits driver. This is a course that many of these players, for example, like Bubba Watson, who's used to hitting driver on most holes, are going to be asked to club down to 3-wood or lower so that they can put the ball in play in an advantageous spot. So I think Henrik Stenson will have a little bit of an advantage there as well. Moving on from Henrik Stenson, I like dropping down to the 7K range. Chris Kirk is 7,800. So he's sandwiched in salary between Charlie Hoffman, Daniel Berger, Kevin Na, Kevin Kisner, and Brooks Koepka, all of which are going to be very popular options. All of those players are very commonly mentioned within the DFS community. I expect them all to be able to take away from Chris Kirk's ownership in GPPs this week. Chris Kirk's made 4 straight cuts and at the Players and 3 straight top 25s. He's probably one of the hotter golfers in this price range and has shown a propensity to play well at this event in big fields. He's a great proximity player and plays well from the sand, so there should be some good course fit there for Chris Kirk, who I think has some potential to be overlooked. Dropping down even further, Jim Furyk at 6,900. So this is a GPP play through and through. Jim Furyk is coming off an injury. He had his first week back last week since September, returning from a wrist injury. We saw him shoot 74-74. He missed the cut by, I think, a stroke or two. I watched a lot of him, and I think that I've seen enough to know that he is no longer struggling with his injury. I think at this point it's a matter of kind of shaking the rust off from being off for as long as he was off. Jim Furyk is a Pete Dye specialist, so his average strokes gained tee to green is 1.7 on any course, and his average strokes gained tee to green on Pete Dye courses is 2.14. So we see Jim Furyk match Pete Dye designs on a regular basis. He tends to play well at these types of courses where you have to navigate trouble. You have to sort of manage your game throughout the course. So with Jim Furyk being a golfer who's going to be low owned because of his injury and severely decreased in price because of his injury, I think that if we can get on Jim Furyk when he does come back and have a good event, I think that we'll be able to profit from that. And if there was going to be an event I would expect Jim Furyk to come back and play well on, it would be an event at a Pete Dye course. So keeping price and ownership in mind, I think at 6,900, Jim Furyk feels like a steal. There certainly is some risk there, but that's why we're playing GPPs. The next guy is 6,300, Webb Simpson. So this is a guy I probably won't go necessarily overboard on. I'm going to have some exposure to him for sure. I think at 6,300, Webb Simpson is way underpriced. He's 34th in proximity and sand play, so he actually kind of fits the course somewhat well. His putting concerns me a little bit, but we know based on history that putting is a stat that has a lot of variability. It can come and go, so I'm not going to let that force me to hesitate on Webb Simpson. I'm going to be playing him. He projects really well in my statistical model. And when you look at his putting, which is still bad, he has drastically improved since 2015. So we're talking about a guy who, although he still is not a great putter and loses strokes putting, is not exactly the same Webb Simpson we all have come to know and love. The last guy I want to mention, who's kind of a sleeper, low price, sub 6K guy, is Matt Jones at 5,700. He really is an incredible value. He's shown top 20 upside here. He has a 17th and a 19th in 2 of his last 4 showings at the Players. He actually has a 32% birdie or better, which is bested by only a few golfers, and almost all of those golfers are in the 10K range. So with his high birdie or better percentage, I would expect to see some upside out of him, and really rack up that DraftKings scoring. If Matt Jones stays out of trouble off the tee, I think particularly he can really have a great shot to meet value at only 5,700. If he makes the cut here, you're really pretty happy with him at 5,700. But if he does finish top 20, which he's done every time he's made the cut here, we can really expect to be happy with him at 5,700. So those are some of my GPP guys. If you have any other questions, you can follow me on Twitter at Brad Messersmith, Messer Smith. You can check out more of my content on DraftKings Playbook or on the Fantasy Golf Degenerates podcast, which I'm a host of. And last but not least, check us out on the expert chats at slurv.com. Those things are really awesome. You can have a chance to interact live with all of the slurv.com experts. We'll be talking some GPP strategy, among other things, this week. And until next time, I'm Brad Messersmith. Thanks for watching.